Alright, today I'm going to check out the Zoom G2.1u, 19 years after its release. So let me start like this. Story time. 1996, Zoom releases their first multi-stomp box. And this unit was released in 2005. So in between that, I'm not pretty sure because I didn't found the exact date. The G1, was it the G1? Yes, the G1 was released. And with that, a bunch of signature models. So you had guys like Michael Emmett from Arch Enemy, John 5. I had to Google who the fuck that is. Apparently he plays guitar or played guitar in Marilyn Manson's band. I'm not a huge fan, so I didn't know that. Kiko Loureiro from Megadeth. So those guys got endorsed by Zoom and had their own signature pedal. And in fact, the Michael Emmett version was the first multi-effects pedal that I ever owned. It was in 2010 and I paid, what did I pay? 55 bucks. Yeah, 2010 I was 18, I looked like this. And the amplifier that I've been using at the time, and chances are that you have been using a similar amp, was this one. The Marshall MG15 with no effects, not even reverb. It's got a clean and a dirty channel. And I ran this Michael Emmett signature Zoom into that, and it was the heaviest and best freaking tone in the whole world for me at the time. So along with this coming out in 2005, there were already two endorsement pedals. It was George Lynch from Dokken, and then it was Richie Kotzen. And that name, for me as a German, when I read that the first time when I was a teenager, it was fucking hilarious. Because the unfortunate thing about Kotzen is, in German, Kotzen means puke. So the guy's last name is Puke. So the G2 era was, I think, the time when these Zoom pedals started to take off. They were quite popular, you know, there were bass pedals, there was even an acoustic pedal, and people seemed to like them really much. And I think that's because in 2005, if you were an average Joe just like me, 2005 I was 13, I didn't even know that these existed, but most people probably had a cheap practicing combo at home, and if you ran one of those into that, it gave you so much tonal options to color your sound that you never had before, and I think that's what made these pedals so popular. And then in 2010 the G2.1u came around and had endorsements as well. Again with Michael Emmett, Kiko Loureiro, and for whatever reason fucking Dave Mustaine even. And why does this guy always look like he absolutely hates what he's doing? Fuck, another day at the office. But yeah, I never played one of those either. I really would like to have the Dave Mustaine one though, to just hear what it sounds like. So since there are countless possibilities, I'm not going to show you each and every effect on this thing because this video would be an hour long, easily. But I'm going to show you some effects that are pretty cool, and the guy in the black shirt is going to demo some sounds today. Hi. Have you set everything up yet? Yeah. Alright, cool. So let's get into it. At first glance it seems overwhelming. There are so many options and knobs, but it's not really that complicated. So on the far left we got a control saying compression. That's what it is. You have the option to choose a compressor, and then you can tweak it with these three knobs here. Alright. The next section says wah effects. You got effects like auto wah, you got two different wah pedals, a vox wah and a crybaby. Then you got tremolo, ring modulation and stuff like that. The next ZNR, it's a noise gate, so you can engage a noise gate for your drive. There are a couple of different drive models on it. I'll show you a picture of that. So next up we have EQ, very self-explanatory. Next up we got extra EQ, and then it says cap and mic. I'm not using that, so I'm not really sure what that does. It's probably got to do with you could use them, or you can even use them as an audio interface. You got the USB jack here, and you can plug it to your computer. And at the time in 2005, it came with Cubase LE, so you could play directly to your computer. But I'm not doing that, so what do I know? Next up, we got modulation. You got a bunch of different effects there. You got chorus, you got flanger, vibrato. Then you have, what else is there? Pitch shifter, harmonizer, stuff like that. Check this. Beautiful. Now about the wah-wah. Unfortunately, you cannot engage the wah by pressing it. Like, for example, on a Boss ME70 or 80, or basically the entire Boss ME series. If you would step on the expression pedal, then you would engage the wah pedal. This is not possible here. So in order to use a wah pedal but not use it in the entire time, you could, I actually did that. So A5 is a patch with a, fortunately they were so kind to add my favorite distortion. It's in Boss Metal Zone. So it is a high gain setting, and A6 is the exact same setting but with a wah pedal engaged. So this is my rhythm tone, and this is my wah lead tone for live situations, and that would look like this. Next up, you got delay. There are different types of delay. Next up, you have reverb. Same story, couple of reverbs, and that's basically it. And then with these three knobs here, you can adjust all these types of effects. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to create your own patch, a custom patch if you will, and I'm going to sacrifice A0 for that. A0 at the moment is, I have it set to a Marshall sound with some delay on it. So it's Distortion City right here. It sounds like this. So now I disengaged every effect and you now hear just the amplifier. And when I say amplifier, I mean I'm playing this Behringer amplifier, but this is plugged into the return of the effects loop. So you know the deal, right? It bypasses the entire preamp. So this becomes a preamp and the Behringer amp is just a power amp. Here we go. So first of all, we're going to need compression. That's here. Let's make it more. So with compression and without, it's not that big of a difference, but it's there. Then we're going to drive. Whoops, that's a noise gate. We want to drive, but we don't want to distort it actually. This is a, don't ask me which model it is, but it's some kind of clean amp. Then we could add another EQ. Bring the bass up a little. And some mids. Maybe get rid of some treble, and it sounds like this. Actually, let's bring up the treble again and get rid of some bass. Alright, and then we go over to modulation. And there are a bunch of effects, but we're going for the chorus. Actually, there's another chorus. It's a stereo chorus. This doesn't even have a stereo out, but it's got a stereo chorus for whatever reason. Very nice. Now we could add a reverb on that. Let's store this to A0. We hit store once. Now it's flashing. And now you could say, oh, I rather want it on A1. But we want to save it to A0. Now we have to press the store button again. It's flashing a little faster and now it's there. So if we accidentally hit one of those buttons to switch the patch, it's still there. Okay, now let's go through some modulation effects. We go to Mod FX. It's here. So chorus, stereo, flanger. Yeah, it's a flanger. Adjust all those effects with these three knobs here. Depth, rate, or you can actually, you see this pedal sign here? You can switch those effects here. So let's go to modulation. And now you can increase the rate with the expression pedal. can do this with all those effects. You can, of course, control the wah and the drive. You can actually set the amount of, you can actually control the amount of drive of your distortion with your foot. How cool is that? Then you have the modulation, the delay, and the reverb. All those effects can be controlled with the expression pedal. So the next would be a pitch shifter. Octave. Let's go for a drive. Yes, vibrato. Random filter. So another very cool feature of this pedal is the phaser, because it gives you the option to switch the position of the phaser. You know, it makes a huge difference whether you have the phaser before your distortion or you have the distortion first and then the phaser. It sounds way different. So here's a clean sound. And now let's hear it with distortion. And engage the phaser. It's now after the distortion, so it's distortion phaser. And now let's switch it by turning this knob here. It says BF, standing for before distortion, so it's this situation here going on. Whoop. So unfortunately this does not work with the flanger or the chorus. That would be very cool because I like those modulations in front of my distortion. I know that on later units, like on this one, you can actually change the position. So let's say you have the distortion here and then you have a modulation here, but you want it here, then you can do it. You can switch the positions wherever you want. That's pretty cool. On this, like I said, it's not possible, but oh well, could be worse. The rhythm section. So you've got a couple of different rhythms and you engage them by pressing this button. So now you're saying, wait, that's a little too fast or a little too slow, so you can either control the speed by turning this knob, or you're just saying, I'm going for the tap tempo. And by turning this knob here, you can change the rhythm. So question is, are there usable sounds on that? Yeah, usable for what? Usable for recording a studio album, an actual professional studio album, so that I could go to the store and grab your album from the shelf? Probably not. But for the average player who's sitting in the similar room like this here and just plug it into an amplifier or even to the computer, you know, like I said, there's the option to use this as an audio interface. It's perfectly fine. So there you have it, the g2.1u. I hope you enjoyed this little blast from the past. Like I said, it's a really cool pedal and you should try it out. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like my content, maybe consider subscribing. I have another cool video in mind for the next couple of days. It will be about this mysterious box case and its secret pedals inside. I'm going to do a video about 80s hair metal sound, and I thought I would go with these three amigos. What you thinking about that? So if you would like to see that, then stay tuned. It's coming out probably in 1 week or so. So thank you very much for watching again, and see you in the next one.